Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And if you're one of my continued followers, I want to thank you. And I like to come up with interesting storylines and talk about and analyze human behavior and how sometimes we can be very diabolical towards each other and how we are losing our humanity and our humanness for people each and every day. And this one has an intellectual spin to it, similar to one I just did previously, a video on an attorney, uh, Michigan attorney Shonda Vander Ark, who recently got convicted for child abuse, neglect, and murdering her 15-year-old son, who weighed 69 pounds at the time when he died, and she had him living in a closet filled with his own urine and everything, and she just got convicted with life in prison in Michigan without the possibility of parole, and she was an attorney. This one is just as peculiar and strange, with this gentleman being an attorney and a judge. This is about 56-year-old Lance Mason from Shaker Heights, Ohio. He murdered his ex-wife because she left him and had a new man. This gentleman had a very interesting career, though. Smart guy, intellectually, book-wise, but dumb, or something was missing in his professional common sense approach to life and how to deal with conflict and his wife and ex-wife at the time. But this gentleman, Lance Mason, Judge Lance Mason, African-American guy, he was a former Ohio state rep. He was also a state senator, and then he became a judge. Graduated from the University of Michigan Law School in 1992, top law school program, so he had to be book smart. And this takes us back a few years when it started. On August 2nd, 2014, Lance Mason, Judge Lance Mason, or Attorney Lance Mason, was arrested and charged for beating his wife while he was driving and their children were in the back seat. Later that day, police seized ammunition and weapons from Mason's house, including shotguns, semi-automatic rifles, handguns, smoke grenades, a bulletproof vest, a sword, and over 2,500 rounds of ammunition. The couple, who were married since 2005, had separated recently. Their divorce was finalized on November 12, 2015, where Mason pleaded guilty on August 13, 2015, to attempted felonious assault and domestic violence, and agreed to serve time in prison. So he got into a heated argument with his wife at the time. He commenced to trying to beat her in the car in front of his children, 6 and 8 years old. And on September 3rd, the Ohio Supreme Court suspended Mason from practicing law for being a convicted felon. He was sentenced to 2 years in prison, but he was released after 9 months. During his sentencing, the judge read from a police report which detailed how Mason punched his wife 20 times in the face with his fist, smashed her head against the car's center console 5 times. He bit her several times, and then choked her, and then threatened her as she exited the car. She had to have facial reconstruction afterwards. So you know that she was ready to get a divorce. And why in the world would a judge or any human being have that many guns and ammunition inside his home, especially with little children? It sounds as if Mr. Mason was losing it as he was evolving as a father and a husband and as a professional. And his wife had enough. And subsequently, she divorces him, tries to move on. And you're not going to believe. So that happened in 2014-15. And November 12, 2018, he waited for, after he served his jail time, lost his license, he did 9 months on 2 years. He waited and ambushed his ex-wife and stabbed her 59 times in front of his 2 daughters to death at a house that she was renting by from his sister. He then took his ex-wife's SUV and fled the scene, hit a police car, injured a police officer before being caught and arrested on September 12, 2019. He got caught and arrested, and then on September 12, 2019, he was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Here's another commentary, just when you think, especially if you're the father of this young lady, that she is marrying a professional and a quality guy, and he comes out to be more demonic than your street hustlers and guys that are running the streets. So there was something inside of him that either mentally, a certain level of insecurity, when his ex-wife's mother made her statement before his conviction, said that he was a very insecure and controlling individual over her daughter and his ex-wife. And subsequently, I guess as a lawyer and a judge, he had experiences with conflict resolution and mediation and trying to make sound decisions on other people's lives while his personal life was unraveling as we speak. And subsequently, he stabbed his ex-wife 59 times in front of his children and ended up getting arrested, and now he's serving life in prison in the state of Ohio. A man who was supposed to protect the legal shield ended up caged for the rest of his life like an animal. And what he did to his ex-wife was animalistic, and now he's in prison for the rest of his life. Mental illness is a real thing. I talk about it in my videos all the time. You never know the pressures and stresses that individuals are going through, and how to deal with conflict and have it to where you can either talk things out, or go your separate ways. We're having too many issues in today's time where people are resulting to death as a result of verbal and or physical altercations. You're seeing this a lot in young people, and I'm bringing this storyline up because this gentleman was 51 at the time. He's 56 now, and is doing life in prison. And all of the things that he should have learned as a young person from his mom, his father, going to law school, going to college, delayed gratification, I guess he threw that all out of the window while he was beating his ex-wife and then subsequently murdered her. I bring these videos up because there should be learning lessons and learning tools that, one, anybody can harm or kill anybody. You don't take any of that for granted, whether they are educated or uneducated. The value on life today has been devalued 100%. It's almost as if we are losing our humanity and our humanness each and every day. And you have a judge that decides that he's going to kill his ex-wife even in front of his own kids. One of his children, whose name was Audrey, that was my mother's maiden name. There's another reason I wanted to do this video. She had learning disability and physical disability, so she was going to have to be looked after for the rest of her life. His ex-wife was a 6th grade science teacher, Aisha Frazier. She was 45 years old at the time. And as I said, their youngest daughter, Audrey, had special needs. So they are going to suffer the rest of their lives as a result of what this gentleman, Lance Mason, did to his ex-wife. He has destroyed his family. He has destroyed his children's ideology and future by having them watch and see him kill their mother. And of course, Aisha Frazier is gone, and that has destroyed her family. And us thinking through heavy times and hard times, there's always a tomorrow. And today is the present, which is a gift from God, and tomorrow is your future. He decided that that day was not his gift and his present, and he decided that his future was the penitentiary and to never get out, and then to end his ex-wife's Aisha Frazier's life right there on the front lawn of the home that she was renting at the time. Very unfortunate circumstance. And people are people. We don't worship individuals because they're professional athletes or entertainers and you see them on TV, or if they're a judge or a lawyer. You'll see me do plenty of videos on doctors that have committed murder, that have lost their mind, judges, lawyers. As I told you, the attorney just here recently in the last couple of weeks, Michigan attorney Shonda Vander Ark, who was abusing her 15-year-old son, Timothy, and had him living in a closet with a tarp and in his own urine. He ended up dying, and she ended up getting life in prison. And she graduated second in her class from Western Michigan University. And this guy, Lance Mason, went to the University of Michigan. So she went to Western Michigan, Cooley Law School, and then Lance went to the University of Michigan. I'm not saying there's anything in the water in the state of Michigan, but we do have two recent circumstances where two attorneys decided to commit harm to their loved ones. Lance Mason did it to his ex-wife, Aisha Frazier, and Shonda Vander Ark committed a heinous crime against her own biological son. So we are just people trying to navigate our way through this trepidous world. Is filled with ups and downs and travails, and the ones that can make it out and live a healthy life are the people that utilize their five senses, as I always say, their common sense, are able to have stillness when things get chaotic and crazy, and to be able to consciously think through issues that are presented in front of you. None of the things that you're going through are forever. Just give it enough time and ride that wave, and you can get to a dry land. Thank you for listening to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth, and I hope you hit that like and subscribe button.